webinar series. My name is Eric Ginesco, head coach and CEO of Maximum Acceleration. We've been running this series since around beginning of October of last year. And the reason was we decided to do something to create a community of learning where we get together on a regular basis, present great information that as loan officers, originators, realtors, and other real estate professionals that we can get this opportunity to grow our skills and perfect and refine what we're doing and how we're approaching and tackling the challenges of the market. Of course, with today's program, we are going to be using the interactive format, and we are going to be taking questions throughout the program today. So please make sure that you're using the question and answer section of the webinar platform to go ahead and type in any of your questions for our panelists and presenters today. Otherwise, the focus of today's program is about how to boost your purchase business by leveraging the DIY buyer and seller. You know, there's a whole market out there that goes outside the realtor market, and that is the do-it-yourself or FSBO buyer. Now, the reason that we crafted the labeling around this whole concept of the DIY buyer is, you know, there's this earthiness and this mentality of, I don't need that realtor, and so part of that opportunity, though, is to access that market, how to leverage that market, and how to produce significant results, not only for yourself, but also for all of your business development business. So our panelists today that I want to introduce, first of all, we have Mr. Jim Sahnger, who is an experienced mortgage originator from South Florida, very, very years in the industry. He's been a frequent commentator and speaker all across the country. He is on faculty with formerly known as Mortgage Success Source Vantage Production and has since the mid-90s. Great.com, quoted and published articles in Wall Street Journal, and a common panelist. Just a good friend over the years that I've had the opportunity to develop and has some great ideas to share with you. And, of course, our second panelist today is Mr. Kevin Bilberry, who is CEO of HomesByLender.com, a top originator since 2001, who built his entire business off leveraging the do-it-yourself buyer and seller market, and has created some really cool tools for loan officers to be able to access and utilize to make that easier and faster process. Then, of course, we're also joined by Maximum Acceleration coach and top-notch realtor, Mr. Brad Korn, who's no stranger to this particular audience. But, you know, Brad has the unique distinction of not only being a good friend of mine that I've established a great relationship with, having coached side by side with him since, but Brad also has the unique distinction of being a top-notch realtor. He and his team have produced well over 100 transactions a year, every year for the last 15 years consecutively, based out of the Kansas City area. So with that, guys, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jim Sahnger. He's going to take the very end of today's program because we've got a special gift for you all right at the last minute of the event. Otherwise, Mr. Jim, take it away.
Eric, thank you so much. You know, as we're all sitting here today, obviously we're in a different market, and everyone has a different reason for being here. Eric, you can flip to the next slide. As we look at that, you know, I want each of you to try to figure out, you know, why are you here? I know for me, operating out of South Florida, one of the things that we're looking at is, you know, we're not getting as many refi opportunities as we once were. But as refinance transactions start to dwindle, or as they have dwindled, you need to have more referral partners in order to keep up the same amount of origination volume that you're accustomed to. And some of us may be here because, you know, we're just flat out looking for more deals this month. What can we do to start filling the pipeline, and how can we do that? And as for the course of the last 30 days, as you continue to hear about the fact that there's just really little to no inventory in a lot of markets, and what inventory is there simply just isn't what a lot of people want. And because of that, you have people that are taking different approaches, both from a sales perspective as well as from a buyer perspective, and that you have a lot of sellers today that feel like, you know, they don't necessarily have to list with an agent in order to sell their home, because as the market has heated up, it's created an opportunity for them to sell their house on their own. And for buyers, if they're not finding the inventory that they're looking for with what's currently on the MLS, or from a builder inventory perspective, they're forced to having to look at what is somebody currently selling on their own. I had this situation occur back at the end of June where I had a particular buyer that I was working with. They were trying to do something under new construction that didn't work out. They started looking at what was available within the MLS inventory. That wasn't there. Consequently, they ended up purchasing a FSBO, and I helped on both sides, and they actually was able to pick up not only this particular transaction for the buyer side, but also picked up the seller on the side that they're going to for the house that they're purchasing. So that's what really, Eric, how can we as individuals learn from that, and where can we go? So, you know, first thing is, why would you even give consideration to a do-it-yourself buyer and a do-it-yourself seller. Why do we want to look at FSBOs? Once we make the decision that that's where we want to go, and you want to open that up as a channel of opportunity, how do we find them? And then once we do find them, what are the steps that are needed in order to take in order to convert them into somebody that's actually going to want to work with you and stick with you and allow you to work with them and take them down the path? And then what happens if you find that person that's trying to sell their house on their own and they don't find success? What are we going to do with them, and where are we going to take them? Next. So, the question is, if you're involved in a competitive situation, would you prefer to compete where there are many or where there are few competitors? I mean, think about this. How many times have you been involved in a refinance transaction where the only question that the person on the other end of the phone continues to ask you is, what's your rate? Why is that? Because it's more of a commodity type of situation, and they're out there actually shopping you against many as opposed to just simply hearing you out for what you have the ability to do. So in my situation, I know from a competition perspective, I would far rather be in a situation where there aren't many like me out there competing, and I have the ability to fully stand up on my own merits, as opposed to worrying about just competing simply upon price. Now, why is this important, Eric? I don't know if you know how many loan officers there are out there today, but there are currently 394,750 registered MLOs with the MLS. 395,000. That is a lot. Hey, Brad, how many of those have you seen in your office here recently?
I thought maybe the real estate offices were giving away money or something, because they've been coming from everywhere.
So as rates have popped up, people are starting to get out. And, why is this really important that we start to think about this today? Well, if we look at where we're currently at, and we're looking at the next 6 quarters, Eric, if you could flip to that next slide, this is going to show you what we've seen in terms of overall business production from mortgage fundings in the last 6 quarters. Last 6 quarters, as you can see, refinance fundings have dramatically outpaced that of purchase fundings. And that green line in the middle, that basically signifies where we're currently at right now. And as we look out over the next 6 quarters, according to the MBA, what we're going to see is, refinance transactions are not going to be there. We're going to be involved in the next 6 quarters where purchase transactions are going to outfund refinance transactions. So if you're not out looking for buyers and sellers, we're going to be in the position where we're going to be struggling or potentially struggling for volume. So we have to differentiate ourselves, and we have to find out where it is that we can be in order to put ourselves in the best position in order to get referrals and generate leads. So that's going to take us to what I would like to say is the intersection of buyers and sellers, which is the next slide. So if we're looking for the intersection of buyers and sellers, and we want to make sure that we're actually appealing to those people that want money, who wants money? Well, it's typically owner-occupants. If you look at a study done by the NAR, the study of buyers and sellers from 2012, what you see is that 87% of buyers who purchased financed. So people that are intending to use the property for their own personal use, 87% or 9 in 10 people are actually going to finance that property. Now, first-time home buyers, 95% of them are financing their home. And repeat home buyers, 4 out of 5 or 81% are financing their properties. When we see a lot of cash buyers, those are typically investors, those are typically hedge funds that are out there right now that are picking up properties that they're going to flip or rent. And if I want to play in an arena where I know that there are loans available, we've got to go to where the people are. So we want to make sure that we are putting ourselves in front of people that need the money. And those are going to be people that are selling their house, and those are going to be people that are looking to buy that house. So if we look at it, the other thing that I also like when you consider this is, what are the typical loan amounts of people? Well, we all know that if you're dealing with first-time home buyers, while the majority of them do always need financing, we know that people that are moving up are typically going to be looking to finance and purchase more. So if you look at people in the age group of 18 to 34, you can see that the house that they sold is typically in the range of $160,000, but the house that they're buying is $250,000. It's an increase of $90,000. So that's a huge difference. The other thing that's really important to us in this particular case is you're looking at a loan amount under an FHA scenario of $150,000 versus $240,000. Same amount of work, a lot more income. Now, for 35 to 44, as you see, they're actually going from a home that's $210,000 to $297,000, so right around that $300,000 mark. And while the next older group, 45 to 54, they're still moving up. They're still going to be in that 250 plus range. And I don't know about you, but I know when I'm doing loans, I'd far rather do a loan that's going to be well above $200,000 as opposed to one that's going to be below $200,000. The choice is always ours, but if we want larger loans, we've got to go to where the people typically are, and we know that sellers are typically buying up. So that said, as we're going to go out and compete with these people, or we're going to go out and try to find business, how are we going to stand out in the crowd? One of the things that whenever I go into an office and I start to have a conversation with a realtor or an agent or take them to lunch, and the topic inevitably rolls around to what is it that makes you different? We all want to have a unique selling proposition. And while we all have ours, Brad, one of the things I'd like to ask you is what is the thing that you typically hear as a realtor? What are people typically telling you that is their unique selling proposition, or what makes them different?
Well, you threw me off there with a word called unique. Because you hear about every generic thing that everybody does. Oh, well, I return calls, and we process things faster, and we have a great system, and we have good back-end staff. And, the thing is, it's stuff that anybody can say they have if you're all fighting for the next piece of business. So you do want to make it unique for sure. I don't hear anything unique, not any of the things that I coach loan officers on. I just don't hear it.
So it's typically a matter of people come in, we've got great rates, we've got great service, we have flexible underwriting, we have basically what should be considered the basic price of admission, right? I mean, you're not going to walk into an office and tell them that you're going to be able to accomplish something if you don't believe that you're going to be able to. But what separates you from somebody else? It's kind of like on the other end of the line when we're talking to a potential client and they're asking us, what makes you different? Well, is it rate? Is it service? What is it that's really going to help you differentiate yourself? And for me, one of the things that I think that we need to do is we need to think about it from the aspect of what are you bringing in terms of value, right? So if you're going to go talk to somebody that's looking to sell their house, what can we do in order to help them so that they can get what they want to accomplish, which is to sell their house and go on and move, go on and buy the next one. So now that we know that we do want to approach FSBO sellers, and we do want to make sure that we're available to help the buyers of those properties, how are we going to find them? It's one thing to know that we want to do it, but it's always very difficult if somebody tells you, here's the path you want to take, but they don't put you on the first step. So there's some free sites that are available if you want to go find some people that are selling their house on their own. The first one, obviously, is you can always look in your local paper, whether it's the one that gets dropped in your doorstep if you're still getting that, or whether it's the one that you go online to pull it up and see what's going on. The other place that you can go to is Craigslist. You can go into any of the Craigslist sites and pull up real estate, look for property that's for sale, and you can differentiate it between whether it's a property that's being sold by a broker or whether or not it's a property that's being sold by an owner. And I think what you'll find is you may be really surprised by the number of listings that are out there. You'll also find that you'll have a number of properties that are actually agent listed, but they're still listed as seller. But aside from that, that's one place that you can go. The other one is, while people like to dog Zillow about, the value that they come back with, one of the things that you can do when you do a search on Zillow is you can do a search for property that's for sale, and you can actually default everyone out but for sale by owners. I know, for example, in the area that I'm at, when I do a search for sale by owners, it actually comes up with about 275 properties right now where people are out there raising their hand going, hey, my house is for sale, come help me out. And if you want to look for sites that are specifically targeted to FSBOs, you can go to forsalebyowner.com, there's owners.com, there's also buyowner.com. Each of these will give you information on who's actually out there with their hand up looking to sell a property. Now, there are also sites that you can pay for that will provide you this information. And 3 of those sites that will actually provide leads and drop them into your mailbox daily, one is LandVoice, another is buyownerdaily.com, and another is the Red X. Now, with LandVoice and buyownerdaily.com, I've worked with both of them, and they're both excellent in terms of delivering information. What they do is they'll go out and they'll scrape all the available sites that are out there. They'll pull it up, they'll cross-reference it against the other information that's available to make sure that there's a phone number. They'll give you the phone number. They'll make sure that you've got the address when that's available, and they give it to you in pretty succinct, usable data that you can look at. And while I'm not a user of RedX, I have seen it, and it will also do the same type thing. So if you want to look at LandVoice as an example.
Well, and Jim, I wanted to jump in there real quick too.
Yes.
Because, guys, think about this. I know we're talking about the do-it-yourself buyer and the do-it-yourself seller, and what Jim is sharing with you guys is how you can increase your business even with your referral partners, the realtors, the financial planners, CPAs, and all that. And what I want you guys to know, to have the behind-the-scenes look at what's really going on the real estate, is all the real estate agents, our properties get fed off of MLS, and they go to a whole bunch of websites. Just like off the cuff by itself, it might go to 100 websites. Each company can then farm it out to even 200 or 300 more websites. At Keller Williams, it's 340 websites that it goes out to. This is all information for you guys to write down and use when you're talking to the agents, when you're working on that referral partnership. But what happens is it's the default junk that goes off of MLS, and what a lot of people don't know, and this is a big secret, congratulations to everyone that's on this call today, because even the realtors in the industry don't know what I'm about to tell you. Most websites at midnight, when that listing is entered, whatever is in there is what goes out to all the websites. So if they put a skeleton in there, or they leave the pictures off for a few days till the photographer shows up, they don't do room measurements, they don't fill in square footage, that basic empty information goes out to all the websites. Their descriptions that go out are stuff like Area 207, subdivision water field, fireplaces 1. It's basic stuff. So what we're about ready to roll into, I really want you guys to pay attention to, because this is how you can help for sale by owners. You can help realtor partners really make their property stand out online, generate activity that's going to come back to you. You're going to have a piece of that and get intercepted in there so you can increase your business. And in turn, you'll be increasing their business as well. So I really wanted to throw that in there. You guys, this is about truly growing your business and helping everybody else grow their business as well.
And you know, that is so important, because we always want to think about what is it that we can do in order to help our partners, right? So if you want to help somebody, the single greatest way to increase your own business is to help the people that you work with increase theirs. And in this particular case, you've got a coach to hundreds of agents, and also has an on-site where he literally has the top cyber stars in real estate, and he's got over 200 agents that he works with to help them improve their business. So when Brad tells you what's working for them, these are the things that you know that you can take to the referral relationships that you have and help them improve their business. And when you help someone else improve their business, you're going to become an incredibly valuable component of their business. And now you're going to be viewed as a partner as opposed to somebody that's just out there looking to be tossed a bone every now and then. And we've all been in the position where we've been looking for business, and this is the opportunity that you have now to not only increase your own, but also help them increase theirs. And everybody wins in that particular case. So on the next one, we're talking. Yes.
Yeah, before we switch from this slide, just real quick, this is Kevin. One thing I wanted to say about these paid services compared to the other services, and I'm a loan officer that worked FSBOs for many years, and one great thing about these services is when you get the data, that the property is being advertised by whichever for sale by owner is doing that, you know that that's fresh data, that person just decided to advertise their home. And the reason that is because, like the Buy Owner Daily, for example, and Land Voice, they don't repeat the ads. They don't send you. So, for example, if somebody put the ad on Craigslist one day, and then let's say 3 weeks from now they're going to throw it on some other source, you're not going to get that a second time. And the reason why that's important is because when you get that data, you're typically the first one calling those people. And that's important because if you're calling them after they've been on the market 3 or 4 weeks, you know, they might have already been beat up by some real estate agents, and they may not be as open to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay. So we look at Land Voice. You know, Land Voice actually has, they have a discount in this particular case for anybody that signs up under the Listing Booster brand. So if you can go to landvoicedata.com/listing booster, it will provide you with the information. Actually, what they're going to do is they'll offer you a special trial offer of half off your first month. And what does that information typically look like? So if you want to see what type of information comes to your email box every day, you can flip over that.
Slide. You're all about to find out what Listing Booster is.
We're going to get there eventually, guys. Jim, I know we're dealing with some technical difficulties behind the scenes here, so if you want to just kind of call out the title of the slides that you want me to jump to as we kind of tend to move through the program. Just so you know, by the way, guys, there's a whole lot more information about how this system works and what we're going to be doing to help you guys leverage into how to get your foot in the door with these sellers and how to get the listings to start flowing, the buyers to start flowing your way for qualifications. There's a lot more information to come, guys, so just hang on tight. We're going to try and zip through as much of this as we possibly can today. And by the way, just in case, we obviously have, we've got 8 hours worth of training here that we're trying to cram into 2. We will be doing a follow-up session, actually 2 follow-up sessions to this program today, going a lot deeper into these concepts and ideas as we move forward. But Jim, what slide do you want me to jump to here?
The title slide is How You Find Them Land Voice Example. It should be right after that orange slide if we lost it. Basically what it does is every day you get an email, and within the email itself, it will tell you where the property is located. So one I'm looking at has Jupiter, Florida. It gives the property price, which is $385,000, gives you 2 different phone numbers, and then also gives you the text and tells you where it was actually listed. So it pretty much lays it all out for you. It's just a matter of you reaching out to them, and this one particular one that I'm looking at, it was a Craigslist posting. So you can even click on that Craigslist ad, and it will send them an email if you wanted to reach out to them at that point. There's also another site, Buy Owner Daily. It looks like we lost that slide as well, but it does the same type of thing. And you can hook up with that one by going to buyownerdaily.com/listing booster. And you can set up, they actually have a free trial for 30 days where you can set that up. But so as we go on to the next one, which is, why would somebody try to sell on their own? As we try to get into the mindset of the FSBO buyer, this is actually a survey that's done by the National Association of Realtors. And they ask people, so if you're trying to sell your property on your own, what's your primary reason? And not that it's a surprise, but the #1 reason is that people don't want to pay a commission or a fee. So when people think that they can do this on their own, they become very price sensitive. They're going to try and put it out there on themselves. And if they can do it that way and they can get some action, that's great. Who are the other people that they typically sell to when they do a FSBO? It can be they're going to sell it to a friend or a neighbor. The buyers are going to contact them directly. 8%, surprisingly, Brad said they just don't want to work with an agent. And in some other cases, they'll say that the agent just didn't have the ability to get it done. But as you think when you're reaching out to them, you want to put yourself into the mindset of that person so that you can expect in advance what any particular objection might be, so that you can address that up front and then put them into a willing relationship as opposed to one where they're not wanting to necessarily work with you. So how can we convert the do-it-yourself seller? So once we reach out to them and we say, hey, we'd like to help you, what are the common concerns that they have? Well, the first one that they have is that, they may not have a basic grasp and understanding of the typical paperwork that's required. I mean, we all know when you're sitting there and you get a purchase contract, in some cases it can be 8, 10, 12, 15 pages. You have addendums. You have to make sure if you're in a PUD that you've got the PUD addendum. Are they selling it as is? Is there anything else that's required? Are they doing it as a condominium? Are there things associated with that? Are they covering, closing costs? Whatever the addendums or whatever the special part of the paperwork is, they really don't have a clue. We do this every day. They do this once every 9 years. So we need to keep that awareness so that we can help them. Hey, look, you know what? If you got your house for sale, I'll be happy to walk you through the steps. And if I can't do it, I'll put you in the hands of somebody that can. What's the other question that they have? Are they going to get the price right? I don't know about you, but how many times have you had a situation recently where the property just simply didn't appraise because they priced it too high? A lot of people read the market's tight, so they'll throw it out there. They may try to list their property for $250,000. It may only be worth $215,000. We're going to find out real quickly when the appraisal comes back. So what can we share with that person that's putting their house up for sale that could be very beneficial about what we're seeing just simply from an appraisal aspect? And then this is one thing that I really like, obviously, is, we want to make sure that we can help the buyer obtain financing. How many times have we been involved with somebody that was purchasing a property that they just simply didn't qualify? Brad, how many times have you seen recently where you've had a buyer that's fallen out because something just didn't work with regards to financing?
Yeah, quite a bit.
So what we can do is help share that information and let them know, you know what, we're going to make sure that any buyer that walks through the door, you know, even if they don't work with us, we're going to encourage them to at least get pre-approved by us so that you know whether or not you should enter into an agreement with them. And from a marketing perspective, you know, people want to know, what can I do in order to get it out there to more people so that more people know that my house is for sale? If we're not putting it on the MLS, then obviously you're going to have a limited scope of people that can look at it, so we're going to point them in the right direction as to where it is that they can do that. And then, you know, the other questions are kind of basic, you know, are they going to get the house sold in particular times we're looking for? Most FSBOs typically are not in as much of a hurry to get their house sold as somebody that's not. You know, they're going to allow a little extra time. So when you're thinking about making phone calls out to these folks, that's what we need to keep in mind. So the next one is, how do we convert them? You know, whenever I reach out to somebody that's looking to sell on their own, I'm going to start to appeal to their needs. And I'm going to let them know in advance, before they even ask, you know, these are the types of things that I'll provide for you. You know, I can get you a basic real estate contract. If there's a common contract in the area that most buyers use, most sellers use, you know, we'll work to get that for them, whether it's coming from an attorney or whether it's coming from a title company. You know, whoever you have the best relationship with that you would also like to help you out in that case. We'll get them a net sheet, make sure that they're aware of what they actually can stand to look at and walking away from the table with. We had a situation here recently where a deal blew up because the seller found out 10 days before closing that they were $60,000 short of where they thought they were going to be. That created a problem. So if we can address that up front, we can help them out. What about marketing assistance? How many times do you have people that are sitting there, you know, they're going to whatever Microsoft program or some other program trying to put together a flyer on their house? You know, it looks like somebody did it in the 6th grade, and it's just not that appealing. What can we do to assist them with marketing materials? And more importantly, what can we do to help get them out on the web where we can maximize the exposure to all the people that are looking to purchase a home in their area, and more importantly, that they can purchase their property? And as we go into buyer pre-screening, you know, it's important that not only are we pre-screening the people that want to submit an offer on that property, but we let them know, you know what, as you're looking to purchase your next property, I would also be happy to walk you down the path so that not only is your buyer going to be set in the best position to buy your property, but you will be as well. And then finally, you know, we go back to the pricing assistance. Pricing is a big issue in a lot of markets. As the market is heated up, it's not uncommon to have 5, 6, 7, 8 offers. I saw one particular Facebook post a couple of weeks ago where a realtor had listed, I'm so excited, my buyer's offer finally got accepted. It was only $35,000 over asking price. Is that a problem? And in this particular case, even though you got the offer, it may not work when we get done with it. I mean, Brad, how many situations have you seen out in your market with properties that have been going for over asking price?
Well, Kansas City is a little different, but I'm telling you, it's happening. All my coaching clients all across the country, it's happening a lot in a lot of places. I actually just had an agent post a video today about multiple or getting in backup offers because they went $21,000 over asking price, still lost out on the property, and that agent was smart enough to ask to be a backup offer. Because you talked earlier about how many deals fall through. So, man, you guys help your realtors out. Say, get backup offers, get them accepted, and then you guys will slip in the back door 25% of the time.
That's a great point. That's a great point. All right, so we've gone over all the situations where what happens when they can actually make the transaction take place, when they do sell it, and everybody wins in that particular case. But what happens in the situation when they put the property out there for sale, but they just don't sell it? You think that happens? Well, yeah, it can happen a lot. So what are the primary reasons when, you know, when they don't sell? How do they get referred to their next agent? So if we look at that next slide, Eric, you know, when they're looking to be referred to an agent, typically that referral is going to come from a friend, a neighbor, or a relative. It could be potentially the agent that they worked for previously. But as we scroll down this list, you know, Brad, I'm looking for something. Do you see loan officer referral there anywhere?
Loan officer referral. Wow, does that actually happen?
Yeah, so unless your name is other, agents aren't getting referred by you. And this is where really you have an opportunity to shine.
Oh, I tell you, it's one of the things that we talk about when we're coaching loan officers, and it's just it's one of those things. It's so simple, it just gets missed.
You know, the first time that I went to a Todd Duncan seminar, Todd was up talking about, you know, the importance of he who controls the lead controls the transaction. He who has the lead, you know, controls the gold. And as we looked at that, one of the things that he always talked about was I have a buyer retrieval program, or I have a seller retrieval program that can put me into the position, Mr. Agent, where I have the ability now to refer people to you. And if I have the ability to refer people to you, does that open the door for an opportunity for a relationship? Well, inevitably, what do people say, Brad? If I can refer you business, are you open to working with me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, they are. But the hollow side on the other end of that, though, is that if you don't actually have the system in place in order to generate people that you can refer, the door's opened, but you're only left there holding on to it.
Well, and
you don't have the ability to walk through.
Jim, I want to take 1 minute here and give you guys another piece of bonus material. It's one of the best things, again, my clients get when we're coaching on how to get more business. And one of the things that I do is I teach them about making a hit list, kind of. Who are the 5 or 10 referral partners that you would like to get into business with? And see, what we focus on is you get some leads. Get several leads coming into you so you can give them out. When you give, you get back tenfold, right? So what I suggest is if you got, say, 5 people that you want to target in your marketplace that you would love to get in business with, and I know everybody on this call would love to have 5 realtors doing 50 to 100 deals a year in your pipeline. So what you do is you take one of them, and for the next 1, 2, 3 months, you focus on getting them 3, 4, or 5 leads that month. Give all the leads you generate. You guys are about to hear how to get leads. That's not going to be a problem. This is going to be a drop in the bucket for you. So you give one of them 3, 4, 5 leads, or give them all your leads for 1 month. This is a top referral partner. That way, if 1 or 2 deals have some bumps in the road and you get 4 or 5 really smooth deals, and you do that for a couple of months in a row, you will own that person. And you'll not only get, they'll get them closed, but they'll know that your deals really do run smooth most of the time, and they will start giving you their business. It's just a metamorphosis kind of thing. Then in 2 or 3 months, they're giving you so much business, you're converting their clients into closed deals, you're making it smooth. When you switch to the next referral partner and start giving them 3 to 4 deals a month for the next 3 months, they don't realize you're not giving them any deals. You can still throw them one here or there, and then once you get those 5 guys in line, then you can start spreading all your leads out. So it's a year program.
I had a conversation with a loan officer a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me about how he had a relationship with an agent who typically has, at any given time, 300 listings. Now think about that, 300 listings. Absolute mega agent out of Arizona. And I asked him, said, so, what did you do in order to start that relationship? Because he had an existing relationship with his other loan officer for 15 years. So you would think that that relationship is rock solid, right? And he goes, well, I simply asked him what they were doing for him to help them outside of just closing their loans. And the realtor and his wife looked at each other, and after a couple of seconds said, nothing. They said, well, if I could start doing things for you that would actually improve your business as well as just close your business, would that open the door? And they said, absolutely. So when you think about the importance and value of having the ability to generate leads and then refer them out as opposed to the person that's always sitting there with their hand out, that's where this becomes exceptionally valuable. So how would you do that? Well, we've already walked through the steps of what you can do in order to find FSBOs, what you can do in order to help them both on the marketing as well as the paperwork and put everything together. But how do we help people really from a marketing perspective, and what can we do? A lot of this can become quite tedious as you try to put it together on your own. And one particular site that Kevin has created that just does a phenomenal job of doing all of the things that we've talked about here is called Listing Booster. And within Listing Booster, it's a full platform that just offers soups to nuts of everything that you would want to do with regards to handling the process itself. So it offers high-definition tours. It offers lead-generating FSBO property websites, lead generation landing pages, a complete mobile marketing solution. You've got professional presentation material. There's integrated social media. There's Craigslist flyers. Everything that you would potentially need is all on this one particular platform.
Yeah, Jim, can I say a few things?
Absolutely. But before we go into that, Eric, do you think that we should take some questions on this before we go any further into what Listing Booster can do?
We do have a couple of questions real quick. Kevin, you may know this. What is the affiliate code for the Listing Booster to get that discount on LandVoice? I'm assuming that's on LandVoice.
LandVoice, Jim would have that information.
LandVoice, you go to landvoicedata.com/listing booster. And you should just enter right in. And if that doesn't work, you can call the 800 number, the 888-678-0905, and just let them know that you came to via listing booster, and they'll hook you up.
Right, and also if you want to try Buy Owner Daily, I do know that Buy Owner Daily will give you a free month trial, so you might definitely want to try that one. And that's www.buyownerdaily.com, and then put in /listing booster, all one word. And that you don't have to put in a promo code. It'll adjust the pricing if you're going through our link. So again, that's buyownerdaily.com /listing booster. I recommend to somebody that worked FSBOs for years and has coached people that work FSBOs all over the country to try them both out, because what we find is in some markets, Buy Owner Daily is stronger than LandVoice, and vice versa in other markets. I come from the Austin, Texas market. I'm in Florida now, but I'm from Austin. And when I was in Austin, I tended to get a little more leads from Buy Owner Daily. They, for whatever reason, they were a little better in that market, so it's a good idea to try them both.
I do want to, one of the things that somebody had posted also was the understanding if we were partnering with LandVoice, and Listing Booster isn't we are working with LandVoice, or you're working with LandVoice on a discount so you can get that, but it's not a partnership where the company.
Right. Yeah. Correct. Yes. Yeah. Let's be very clear about that. I have no affiliation in the sense of we're not affiliated with them in that way. Basically, what we try to do, and what with my Homes by Lender product as well, is I've always tried to go out and create relationships with vendors and so forth to give our clients, a better price breaks on whatever we feel that they should be using in conjunction with our products.
Are there other questions as well?
Let's see. Well, they're just, a lot of them are just, somebody said the link is bad on the LandVoice deal.
Okay. Yeah, we'll reach out to them. That was something they were supposed to set up yesterday. I know the Buy Owner Daily one works. So if you're having that issue, then just do the Buy Owner Daily. Then we can send out an email to everybody once we know this one's good.
Yep, we will. Right. We'll get an email.
We'll be following up with all of these questions as we move through this webinar program. Also, to answer the question that's come up several times about getting access to the information on these slides, we will be sending out a copy of the slides along with the audio and video recordings just as soon as our back-end team has time to do the video rendering and transcoding work that has to be done to put it in a format that's more easily accessible to you. That will be going out usually within 48 hours. By the end of Thursday, you should have that in your inbox to everybody who's registered here. And Kevin and Jim and are going to make sure that you guys get the information that you need to be able to access. Guys, when it comes to the use of these tools and resources, there's two key points that I heard here that I want to make sure I reemphasize. One is that this is a great way for you to be able to very, very quickly get yourself in front of a lot of buyers. Sellers become buyers. Sellers draw buyers. It's, why is it that real estate agents focus on listings the majority of the time? I mean, Brad, you built your practice off that, right? I mean, what is one of the ways, Brad, that you teach your team to, to build your pipeline, right? Number one way is go get more listings, right? When your volume's light, what do you do as an agent?
Yeah, we get more listings.
Okay. I'm sorry, could I add something there as well?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just talking from a loan officer perspective, because I know that's the majority of everyone on this call is a loan officer. I can just tell you this as an LO, when I first got into the business, I appreciated that the excitement's in the homes, not the loans. That was always my motto. And I always saw that, especially with the floor, that's where the buyers are going. And that's where you need to be. Because if you're not there, then you're having to be the guy that's sitting back waiting for people to refer to you, as far as agents and so forth. But there's a plethora of people out there trying to sell a home on their own that don't know what they're doing, and they're not threatened by us. We're there to help them. We're not there to get a commission from them and so forth. And by utilizing that, and that philosophy helps me not only to always have steady pipeline and steady deals coming in, but it also put me in the position to refer out to agents. I had agents taking me to lunch for years, and that's no exaggeration. That's definitely true. So So anyway,
Right.
I just wanted to throw that tidbit in there.
Just so you know, everybody, I'm going to have the majority of the questions are, a ton of you on the call are asking more questions about Listing Booster and how to get access to it, and I'm going to have Kevin kind of review that part with you guys here momentarily. But I also want you guys to all know that there's two more webinars in this series where these guys are going to be coming back again, and these are some dates you might want to write down. August 27th on this webinar series here at 11 Central, noon Eastern. And then again on September 10th, Kevin and Jim are going to go a lot deeper in those two programs. The next one on the 27th, we're going to go a lot deeper into the mechanics of the conversation with the seller, how you get the sellers to sign up with you, if you will, what tools and materials you as a loan officer can give them to help engage and efficiently capture the buyers that are showing interest in that for sale by owner property. And then on September 10th, we're going to come back together and talk about how to leverage that into taking this DIY opportunity and converting it into not just leads that you could refer to agents, but how you can make that a strong partnership and collaboration. But for those of you that I mean, literally, geez, it's like the Q&A board's lighting up here with how many of you want information about this Listing Booster. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and go into talking a little bit about the Listing Booster system, or if you want to toss off to Jim, why don't you guys kind of cover a little bit about how that system works, what's involved with it, and how they can get access to it.
Well, before he does that, because I was going to ask him to repeat this, your philosophy, Kevin, you went through it so fast I was trying to write it down. Can you give that to us again? That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically, again, as a loan officer, from day one, I always appreciated that the excitement is in the homes, not the loans. The buyers go to where the homes are. They only come to us. They only come to us after they decided to buy and they found something, and now they're either trying to get qualified or they're rate shopping. So
cool.
my philosophy was always to get them ahead of time.
Cool. Now tell us, this Listing Booster, guys, I've been running this on our end for a while from the real estate side of things, and it's pretty awesome. So I know this is what they'd rather hear for the next 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, just what the system does.
Right. Okay. Well, one thing it does, now there's two sides to it, and we're talking about for sale by owner today, but just so you guys understand, this isn't just for sale by owner. This has a whole automation thing for agents, and we can get into that at a later point, but what this does is it gives professional-grade marketing materials to, not only to the agents, but the for sale by owner sellers we're talking about today. A high-definition virtual tour. There's lead capture links off those tours, and the sellers are very, very impressed with that. Most people are familiar with property websites, so we do a for sale by owner version as well. That's very impressive. When you walk in there and you tell a seller, hey, team up with me, and I'm going to build a website that's dedicated to your property. That's something that's very impressive to them. Other thing there, if you, I think we passed it up, but that the whole mobile marketing solution, and I can just tell you guys this, I recently moved to Florida from Texas. While we were in beta testing of this product, I actually did the mobile marketing system. I put the sign out in my yard, and I sold my home by owner. I had it on the market for roughly 60 days, and in 60 days, I got roughly around 40-some-odd text leads off my property. Now, I wasn't calling these people back from the perspective of a loan officer. I was calling them back as the perspective of a seller. But I can tell you, these leads were very, very strong. Most of these people I talked to were not working with agents yet. They were just kind of starting off. They had not been qualified yet, and they were very open to working with anybody I was getting ready to refer them to. So, people want to refer, and that's what always made me successful as a loan officer, because I would go out there and press the flesh with the sellers, and that's very important, too, that you do meet your sellers face-to-face, because when you do that, it empowers them that they want to refer to you. Oh, yeah, I do know a guy that can answer these questions. Or I do know a guy that can, get the ball rolling if you want to make an offer on my home. And that was always me. So this product, Listing Booster, there's quite a bit of it that we've been doing on the Homes by Lender side. Now, Homes by Lender is another product that's more exclusive territory type thing. But, a lot of those things we've learned, we've built into this Listing Booster product. We package it up and put a very, very competitive price on it. But anyway, it's going to give you everything to walk into a seller and blow their socks off and get them ready to want to work with you.
Hey, Jim, you've got a couple of slides loaded in this slide deck here, which if you want to tell me what slide you want me to be on here as how to communicate the getting access to it is the biggest question here, guys. How do folks who want Listing Booster, how do they get access to it?
Okay.
Jim, can you jump back in here and kind of take it for me?
I posted it, guys. I posted it.
Okay. And I'll answer that question out loud too. We've actually just for this webinar we've done up for the FSBO thing, we've actually set up a landing page. It's FSBOBooster.com, and there's a link on there to sign up, and there's also a promo code. And so what you guys are going to get with the promo code, there it is there. Our price is normally $197 a month. That's our full-blown price. Because you guys are on this webinar and you're affiliated, you're coming through us this way, you are going to get a discount of $30 a month if you decide to continue after the 10-day trial. That'll be $167 a month, and you're grandfathered into that. It's not going to change to $197 2 months down the road. You'll be in at the $167 mark. And again, that's FSBOBooster.com, and the promo code is FSBO Success. And you'll see a button to sign up, and it's going to take you to the Listing Booster page where you can sign up there. And if you're wanting to see what this does for agents also, there's some information on there. I'll just quickly say this. On the agent side, we've got this thing set up to where it auto pulls in their listings. Once you set an agent up, you don't have to worry about them continually logging in or updating their listings. It's all synced with the MLS as long as they're syndicating out. And I will get that's a real nice thing for that. So, okay. Jim, did you want to add anything else?
Well, Kevin, guys, one quick thing I was going to jump in is one of the people on the webinar just posted a question: how does it differ from e-property sites? And Kevin, Jim, one of you two of you want to address that? How does this differ, or does it work in conjunction with, or what value? How does it compare?
Well, for me as a loan officer and somebody that's looking at it, the first thing when I looked at e-property sites years ago, I had questions about just how easy it was to use, because any tool, regardless of how great it is, if it requires a lot of additional work and requires me to really alter the way that I go about my business on a day-to-day basis, it just may not help me realize the amount of success that it possibly could. So with Listing Booster, the one thing, particularly from an agent side, that's exceptionally cool is the fact that everything is automated. So once you enter their information, it's no longer a situation where you have to go back in and enter anything about the property at that point for the agent. Everything is going to populate automatically. You get listing emails every day when somebody has a new listing. It updates for price, it updates for picture changes. Everything happens automatically. The other thing that when I look at e-property sites from a price perspective, this is also, not only does it do more from what I consider to be important, but I know from a price point it's also less expensive. So it's more valuable in both those areas.
Well, Jim, I'll add to that too. As a realtor that's using it, you guys think about this. Technology is changing at lightning speed. So you've got Kevin coming into the market with this at a new time when e-property sites probably came out 5, 6, 7 years ago. So yeah, people upgrade things all the time, but this thing was built with a lot more of what's going on. What I love the best about it, and I used e-property sites a lot with another lender that bought it for us and offered it, and I'm always willing to help out loan officers when they've given me free advertising. But it sends one email with all these different links depending on what I want to do. If I want a virtual tour, if I want a branded tour, a non-branded tour, I mean, it's all in one email. So I'm just a realtor here working. I get an email that goes, hey, your property's being advertised. Sweet. And now I can take those links and post them wherever I want them. Somebody did bring up a good point, too. They were asking, is Listing Booster for the FSBO owner to use, or is it for the LO? Oh, my question went off the board here. Or is it for the LO to be able to offer the systems to FSBO owners? Heck yeah. And one of the things I responded to was this gives you the open door to create relationships with FSBOs, and it gives you the open door to create relationships with your referral partners, and eventually you connect those two, and it's a win-win-win circle there, and you're bringing business to your referral partners, and you're helping the for sale by owner finally sell their house if they didn't, yet you're still working with the FSBO if they do sell their house. It's not costing your realtor partners anything if they sell their house. So you guys are in an awesome position.
Yeah, I would like to add something as well. We are discussing e-property sites, and so forth. And I don't want to cast any negative light on e-property sites. Personally, I think it's a great product. You know, I know those guys, and so there's nothing negative to say about those guys. But I will say this, from a listing booster's perspective, this was developed from the loan officer perspective. This is developed from our perspective, and you know, that's one reason why we did the whole automated thing, because we know as loan officers, you know, most of our agents are going to want us to go in there and input their properties and so forth, and we know that I think I got a stat from a guy that's used, I won't say, he's used another system, and he said, you know, roughly 10% of the agents that he has in the system actively log into it and use it. So we developed this as brought out that, you know, after the agent inputs their property into the MLS, within 24 hours, the agent's going to get an email from you, the loan officer, like, hey, congratulations on that new listing at whatever the address is. You know, we just boosted it. Here's all the links that Brad just mentioned. And that's your cue as a LO to call that person. It typically goes on around, that'll go out about 11 o'clock Eastern time. So that's your cue to call that agent in the morning, like, hey, did you get my email last night? Congratulations on that new listing. You know, what do we need to do on it? Do we need to get that, you know, full-blown virtual tour with the lead capture on the Trulia and Zillow, or do we need to get the sign writers out there? Those are, you know, that's your cue. So again, if you really want to know the difference, I mean, that's kind of the biggest difference. Again, this thing is being developed from a lender perspective.
Hey guys, couple of
if
good.
anyone has a question about what some of the material looks like that's available for sale by owner, Eric, I've got that one slide that shows the 3 different marketing pieces.
Yeah, Jim, there's a sample of it right there. Hey, guys, there's a ton of you on the call that I know that we could keep this conversation going all day long. There's one quick thing I did want to do is I promised everybody on the call that we'd have a special gift for you at the end of the program. And there's one last thing I want to mention really quickly, and then Jim and Kevin, I'm sure, will be happy to hang out with you guys and answer a lot more of these questions as we go forward. Beyond that, anybody who had questions that posted in the Q&A that we haven't had time to get to today, remember these guys are coming back on the 27th of August and again on the 10th of September. We're going to go a lot deeper into the how you go about this on the August 27th program. We're going to go a lot deeper into how you approach the sellers and what strategies you use to get your foot in the door with the sellers and get the loans flowing. On August 27th. In addition, on September 10th, we'll talk a lot more how to take that when it doesn't sell, how to make that handoff to the real estate agent and use that as a major door opener. Is, you know, the reality is, you know, that this is just an accountability tool. I mean, these are tools and resources that are going to help you as an individual loan officer get to the next level in your business faster. And the way that we help you do that is through a lot of the coaching and training work that we do. We help provide that accountability for people. You know, the realities of it is that it's all about getting to the execution level, the runway level of actually working through this tactic. So any of you who had questions or comments about what the coaching process is all about and what we do at Maximum Acceleration, you know, bringing you all these tools, ideas, and strategies, helping you work through the nuts and bolts of the issues and concerns that you have. You know, any of you that are interested in finding out more about the coaching process, how it works, what it involves, how to actually take some of the tactics that you're hearing on this webinar series and actually follow through and execute those ideas. One of the best ways we've found to help you understand the value of coaching is simply to experience it. One consultation appointment with one of our Maximum Acceleration coaches. You go deep on actually getting some coaching and guidance on a specific issue. You get a feel for how the program works, and you'll be able to find out more information about how to engage our services for those of you that are serious and ready to take it to the next level. There was one other question that came up here that I wanted to make sure that you guys get access to. Again, coming up next, there's Cup 7th. These guys are going to be back. If you want to go ahead and register for that now, go to mxlcoach.com/webinars, and you'll see the invitation links for the program on August 27th. We're going to get going a lot deeper into how you go about attracting buyers, how you get your foot in the door with the sellers and start getting the loans flowing. And then also, by the way, the last thing is you guys have all invested your time in today's program. Now, the reality is ideas without action are useless. They have no value to in your business. You've committed an hour of your day to invest in taking on this learning or this opportunity to get the ideas and strategies that have been shared with you today. Now, before you go to anything else, before you take that next phone call or before you respond to that next email, what I want you to do is take 30 seconds for yourself to answer these 4 quick questions. 1, what was the most valuable thing you heard about in today's program? You're going to have the recording and the resource materials to follow up with later. We can come back at it at that time. Just pick 1, the first thing that you want to do with these ideas. Secondly, what action do you need to take to make this a part of your daily business on a regular basis? Getting online and picking up the 10-day trial. Maybe it's watching one of their a couple of their demo videos and finding out how you could use that as a tool to present in front of the potential sellers that you want to use the system to help host, or even without the system, if you want to start reaching out to for sale by owner sellers and start talking to them about the benefits of referring their buyers to you, so they're not wasting their time showing property to people who don't qualify. Whatever that next action is, decide what that next step is and decide how you're going to move forward with that idea. Then third is put some teeth to it. Create some accountability for yourself. By when are you going to have that action completed? And the fourth question, which is the magic secret here, holds you accountable to following through on this action plan that you've created from today's event. If you'd like any help with that, of course, our coaches are always here and willing to help. mxlcoach.com/strategy is how you can find out more about engaging the services of one of our professional coaching team here at Maximum Acceleration. With that being said, guys, I'm going to flip it back to Jim, and anybody who wants to hang out for another 15, 20 minutes here and get some additional questions answered. Jim, I know you wanted to show a little bit of the information about the, I'm going to back up a handful of slides here just so we can get back to the listing boost and promotional material, and then you just tell me where to go from there, okay?
Sure. Well, some people obviously have a question about if you're going to do something from a marketing perspective, what do you actually have the ability to show? So if you go up to that listing in the form of a PDF, or whether you're putting together an actual paper packet that you're going to send out to somebody, to show them what are the types of materials that we have the ability to create. So one of the FSBOs that I'm working with right now, if you were to go to 242hamptonplace.fsbo4.me, you can actually see a moving site that's set up for this one particular individual. Within that, you can also see the print material that goes out with it. And on this slide, I also showed a one-button Craigslist posting where when we create all of it, it's simply just a matter of it's one button, click and play. But for everyone that's here, Brad, Kevin, and I had a conversation about what can we do to help two people. So for two people that have remained, if you want to raise your hand, we're going to select two people that if you're willing to work this over the course of the next 2 weeks, we will provide additional coaching and get you engaged to show you exactly what this can do for you. However, in exchange for that, we just want to make sure that you're going to be willing to come back and share your results and also share your feedback with us so that we can help make sure that this is absolutely the best product for any loan officer that's out there.
All right, I have your two hands that came up first. Somebody raised their hand and then took it back off, so he must not have wanted it.
No way.
All right, so we got Tom Spaniel and Cynthia Drotten. You are the first two to raise your hand.
Okay, and anybody else who'd like more information, and again, as we've been going through today's webinar, obviously there's been a ton of you who have asked some amazing questions, and there's way more than we had time to cover in today's format. I don't necessarily need to be tongue-in-cheek about it, but boy, you guys really could fill up 8 hours worth of training with this material. It is so powerful. It is so amazingly able to take and literally explode your business. I mean, think about it. You know, the average foot traffic through a listing these days is between 8 and 10 buyers a month. You know, 1 or 2, 3 to 5 a week are 30 to 50 new buyer leads a month off every single for sale by owner listing that you helped capture, or for sale by owner property seller that you as a loan officer started generating. And just think about all the other spin-off opportunities, the spider web of how quickly that could multiply into literally hundreds of loans a year. And so as we move forward with today's programming, we are going to, we're going to be going, again, on the August 26th program, we're going to be going a lot deeper into the technique of how you go about sitting down with the seller and talking to them about how to help them as a for sale by owner property seller, talking about how to get the buyer leads flowing your direction, and capturing those buyers so you can do loan apps and close loans, right? That's what this is all about, is how to help you make more money in a difficult purchase market. And that's one of the reasons when Kevin and Jim first approached me about this idea, I thought, yes, absolutely, we've got to get this information in front of our audience. We need to make sure that they are understanding how to get the techniques and strategies in play that make this system work. So anything that we can do to help you, please make sure, guys, that you're posting those comments and questions in the Q&A section. If you guys are interested in going ahead and jumping in and taking advantage of Listing Boosters as a coach, and we talk about coaching being an 8-to-1, 8 times return on investment usually within the first 60 days. We hit that target about 85% or better of the time. Guys, this is going to be like an 8,000-to-1 return on investment for as little as you have to put into this program to run it. Like I said, I just can't imagine that you start getting the system up and running that you wouldn't be overloaded with more loans than you can handle in a matter of a handful of weeks, literally. And so that's one of the reasons I've asked these guys to come back to join with us, to share more ideas and strategies about how to make the do-it-yourself seller and buyer market work for you, and all the other tools, ideas, and strategies that we need. Obviously, guys, I know that we're a little bit over the time slot we had scheduled. Jim and Kevin, thanks again for participating in today's program. Any final thoughts you guys would like to share here?
I would just like to throw out one thing. If this is a product that you think is pretty interesting, and you might have missed out on those 2, which we did, the other guy who dropped his hand, we got you in there, James. James was the first one to raise his hand. He's back in there. So I guess we're doing 3, guys. What Jim had said, you're going to look into it more, and you would like somebody to help you, coach you on the product when you get it. That service will be available. We're taking these 3 people, and we're going to help them blow their business up with it. So if that's something you might do, raise your hand right now. If you think this is a product you are interested in, you just got to look into it a little further, and you would want some extra coaching so we can keep your name around. Okay? You guys, anything else?
No, I think the single best. There's a saying that's out there. The single best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. And the next best time is today. So as you're looking to take your business from where you currently are to where it is that you actually want to go, the best thing that you can do is start implementing actionable items today. And this is one that you can start reaching out to for sale by owners. You can start generating buyer leads. You can start generating seller leads. You can communicate this to potential referral partners that you would like to work with, and I can guarantee you that you will have people to refer in the course of a month if you just take the simple steps that are required. And it will open the door, and you'll have the opportunity to work with agents that you would have never thought that you'd have had the opportunity to work with previously. So get started and have fun with it, more important than anything else.